Hello everybody, Domestic Fox here with another review video, and today we'll be reviewing this guy. This is the Kershaw Shuffle DIY. Now, I've never reviewed the original Kershaw Shuffle, which I will get to one of these days, but right now I'm just going to review this guy first. First things first, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing, because if you like knife content, I post knife content constantly. Every week, you'll get some knife content, so please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Now let's get into the video, get into this review. We'll start off with length, the overall length of this guy, and we already could tell that it's not going to be too long. It's a pretty small knife. Yeah, above 5.5 inches and below 5 3/4. And then right there we got 2.5 inches of blade, approximately, maybe a little under 2.5 inches of blade, but your cutting edge is just above, just a tiny bit above 2 inches. So you get less than 3 inches of cutting edge, which is not too bad for a knife like this, because I mean it may have very little cutting edge, but you do have quite a tall blade, which does help with cutting tasks, which is also nice. The weight on this guy, now in hand, this guy feels pretty light, but let's see what the scale says. All right. Mr. Scale. All right, we're on ounces. Boom. All right, 3.40. That is not going to be heavy at all. In your pocket, you're definitely not going to really care about that. I don't think there's really, you can't really tell the difference between 3.40 and 4.40, or just 5, probably. I mean, every ounce adds up eventually, but those little bits, you don't really feel those. Size comparison time. Let's start off with everyone's favorite, PM2 and pair of 3. Get this guy open. Now this guy is much smaller than both these guys by handle and blade ratio, so pretty interesting. Next up, CJRB Feldspar small, CJRB Feldspar full size. Now obviously this guy is smaller than the full size and still smaller than the small on the Feldspar. Next, Benchmade Bug Out Mini, Benchmade Bug Out, full sized in this beautiful carbon fiber. Sorry, I love carbon fiber. All right, now as you can see, this guy's even smaller than the mini Bug Out, so I didn't think anything could get smaller than this. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, there's much smaller knives, but yeah. So this guy is much smaller. You get almost the same amount of blade, but this one has much reduced cutting edge due to that forked choil. All right, last but not least, the most important size comparison is the Cold Steel Spada Medium and Cold Steel Spada XL. Boom. Yep, this guy's smaller. Who would have thought? I love doing that. It's just so comedic. Putting knives next to the Spada. Someone told me that there's a knife. I think it was the Cold Steel Open L, I think it was, or something like that. Or the Open L, what was it? Open L 13 or something. One of the Open Ls. Someone told me I think it's bigger, or at least longer than the Espada, and I'm just like, that's a thing? There's something bigger than the Espada that isn't a machete? Just blew my mind. Alright, and then one last comparison is with the original Shuffle. So this is the difference between the two on the Shuffles. They're pretty much the same. You can see in profile they're quite similar, but if you look closely, you'll notice quite a few differences besides the tools sticking out of there and the driver back here. But yeah, this one has a flat head right here with a lanyard, a loop right here, so that's removed for this. They both have a bottle opener. on the back, so it's still the essence of the shuffle. So you still get the essence in the of the shuffle in this one, just with a few minor changes. So that's pretty interesting. I'm gonna go in depth with that later down in this video, but let's first go through the specs, and then I'll get into depth on the differences. If I don't forget, because I tend to be forgetful. Now the height on this guy up against the pair of 3. So as you can see, this guy is not too high, but still pretty high if you compare it to something like the Bug Out. So this guy will run higher in your pocket. Width on this guy against this guy, as you can see that this guy is actually much thicker, even with that pocket clip. So yeah, thickness, and this guy has a swell on the side where this side is more flat. So compared to the Bug Out is very thin. So yeah, blade thickness on this guy. Got my calibers. I like to say things weird, it's fun. Okay, this guy's got a swedge, so we'll do the thickest spot right here. Is 0.11 inches on the swedge, which is going to be a little harder to calculate, but we'll try to see if I can get it done. It's right there. And then on the blade, right there is 0.03, I think. There you go. Price on this guy. First, let's talk about the materials, and then I'll get into the price. The materials is 8CR13 MOV, same as the original. People are still using that steel, and don't really know why, but yeah. So 8CR13 MOV on this guy. The handle is GFN, glass-filled nylon, which is okay. And then you got the blade is a drop point blade with a hollow grind, which is pretty cool. And then the finish is an acid wash. So black blade, nice little acid wash on it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The price on this guy now is at Blade HQ. You're gonna spend $26.95 for this guy on Blade HQ. The MSRP on this guy is $43.95. That is way overpriced. I mean, I love this guy. Don't get me wrong, but it's still $43 is no. Amazon is $29.14. That's the price I found on Amazon. You might find a better price somewhere else on Amazon, because there's multiple different sellers for certain things on Amazon, so you might find a better price. There also might be coupons. Knife Center is $28.95, so a little bit pricier, about $2 pricier than Blade HQ. So Blade HQ is definitely the guys to go for if you want this knife and don't want to spend a whole lot of money. Because $26 I think is fine. I mean, it's still quite a bit for 8CR30 MOV and just GFN scales. But this guy has a little bit more utility into it that I think that makes it worth that little extra money, even despite the less than the kind of subpar steel on it. 8CR30 MOV is okay. It's okay so far. How I worked with it. So far, it's fine. It does what it does. It does lose its edge pretty quickly, and it doesn't take a very sharp edge in my experience. It sharpens up real quickly, but it doesn't take a very good edge. I've never. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I'm doing it different. And maybe I need to do a different technique, or my angles are off, or something. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Either that, or maybe on my Kershaw Brawler, maybe the heat treat is wrong, or something. Not entirely sure. There's some factor in play. Because I can get 8CR30 MOV is sharp, but it just doesn't feel like I can get it as sharp as other steels that I've sharpened, like D2 or Nitro V or something like that. Or even S110V. S110V is just wicked sharp. Love it. Takes forever to sharpen, but it's good. As long as you keep touch-ups on it, it won't take you too long. But yeah, ACR13MOV just never really took a good edge, in my opinion, so far in my, day-to-day EDC regular, just dude at home use. Uh, so, yeah. Now let's get into the cut test before I forget it, and then I'm just gonna ramble on about my opinions about this knife, and then do the comparisons, the difference comparisons with the original. Okay, we got some paper. I've never sharpened this guy, and I've used it, I believe, just a little bit. I used it, as you can see right there. You can see a little discoloration at the tip. That is not a heat treat issue. I used this to open up a bottle of, I think it was some type of acid I was using to forget what the name was, but it was some type of acid that I was using for a project, and I used this to open up the bottle, and the acid stained the edge. But that should probably come off eventually with use and sharpening in the future. So as you can see, Kershaw actually did a really good job on sharpening this, especially with HCR 13MOV. Like I said, I complained that I can't get a good edge on it. Maybe there's something I'm doing wrong. Maybe there's something that Kershaw knows better. But this guy actually has a really good edge. Really good factory edge. That is a crazy good factory edge, to be honest, especially for Kershaw. Kershaw is really good. I like them as a budget company. They do a lot of good things. They overuse HCR 13 MOV, but if it's working for them, right? They really actually put a really good edge on this guy. For factory edge, that is ridiculously good. I swear that is a really good factory edge. One of the best I've ever seen, especially from Kershaw. Kershaw is a fantastic budget company, but sometimes their edges are not the best out of the box. This one, fantastic. Literally one of the best out of the box edges I've ever felt. And that's saying something. Okay, I might be overhyping it, but that's just how it feels. It feels like that is a ridiculously good edge. It's like, what type of voodoo did you do, Kershaw, to get 8CR13 MOV that sharp on a budget knife that cheap? Jeez. I don't know. Maybe I might be just overdoing it. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. The ergos on this guy, actually very comfortable for the most part. Surprisingly comfortable because you got all these little jerby sticking out everywhere. You got all these bits, all these things. It has all these choils right here. So, you got a lot of choils. So it tells you where to put your fingers. So if you're somebody who doesn't like for a knife to tell you where to put your fingers, this might not be your forte. But I really like for choils like this. It's very comfortable. It gives you extremely good control over your knife, and it really keeps it nice and locked into your hand. Perfectly placed jimping on the spine of the blade right here, so it's just like good right there. You do draw cuts and all that kind of stuff. All this, it's very comfortable. The only issue is this pocket clip. It should have been over here. I don't know why they put it up here. Maybe because the angle would have been off or something, because maybe they had to make room for, I don't know. I really don't. It should have been over here. They could have done something. I believe they could have compensated to make the pocket clip over there. Well, actually, no, that would probably, let's see, hold on. Let's see, this is right hand carry. If it's right here, this will make it here. Yeah, that should be fine. Pull it out of your pocket like that. Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure why they didn't put the pocket clip here. That's the only hot spot when holding it. You could feel that pocket clip riding into your hand. It's not super uncomfortable like some pocket clips I felt, or just some knives that have extreme hot spots. But this guy actually does not have that big of a deal of a hotspot. You are going to feel it eventually. You'll probably notice it when you hold it in your hand. But all this is actually surprisingly comfortable. You think these bits will just be annoying, but no, they actually don't feel that bad. Over a long period of use, you probably will eventually notice. But just quick in, out, done. Actually, not bad ergos. Not bad. Not the best, but it's not as bad as it looks. The bit driver on this guy is very good. As you can see, these guys have really good retention. They're not coming out. Just slide them out. Boom. Slide them back in. There you go. See? Fits in perfectly and doesn't come out unless, of course, you tell it to. which is really good. Bit driver is using a magnet, and it sticks in, and it wants to stay in. It ain't going to come out, and you ain't going to lose your bit when you're working on something. It's that good. The magnet on this keeps it nice and solid in there, which is really good. And it also works with other bits, so you can put. Well, I should have brought one over. Forgot, but you can put like your Weehaw set in here for like T6s and T8s and stuff like that. So I use this to disassemble. If you're watching any of my disassembly videos, I use this to disassemble all my knives because it's cool. So yeah, and then fit and finish on this guy is actually really good. It has a very tight deployment, so it's not drop shut. Just using regular. It's probably I forgot to check in there. Sorry. I think it's using just probably like phosphor bronze or just nylon washers, something like that. But you can flick it out like this, so that's also good. But it's not drop shut, so you do have to close it, or you can just do a control open. You can't push these out like some. You have to flick it out with a lot of force, but it does come out like that, which is also really cool. It has no, as you can see, no blade play, which is really nice. Everything seems to be solid. It feels very, very well built. The GFN scales actually feel pretty durable, which is really nice. Feels extremely durable. This knife actually feels very tanky. Okay, and then yeah, but it's very compact and very easy to just keep in your pocket. If you need a bit driver, and you got 2 bits that come with it, bottle opener, knife. What else can you ask for, right? The only thing that's missing is pliers, which, yeah, other multi-tools have, but you can't fit pliers on this without it being super stinking clunky. That was dumb. Okay, now let me tell you about the differences between the two before I forget. Differences between these two is, as you can see, they both have very similar profiles and designs. They're definitely keeping within the aesthetic of the shuffle. The difference is the pocket clip. This one is tipped down. This one is tipped up. As you can see, that's the difference. This one has a bit driver. This one has a flat head with a lanyard hole right there. The lanyard hole is now back over here. Both have a bottle opener, which is cool. So a little bit of utility with this guy, but more so with this guy. As you can see, that this guy is a little bit chunkier on the left side to make room for those bits. So this guy is much thinner in the pocket, and then this one also has jimping on the spine, which this one does not. I really wish that this one actually had jimping because this jimping is actually really nice. But yeah. And then the swedge grinds are pretty similar, but this one's swedge goes down a little bit more. And this one also has a K texture, so it's a bunch of Ks for Kershaw. This one has a little bit more of its liner sticking out. This one has a little less liner sticking out, but you can access both of them very easily. This one has a little bit of a tighter action, so it's harder to flick out. Maybe adjusting that pivot would help. This one's a little bit easier with the action. So yeah, those are the main major differences between the original and the DIY. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Nothing more to add to this that I can really think of. Oh, and just in case if I forgot, this has nested steel liners, which is really nice. I like it when things have nested steel liners, which I really like. This one does not have a deep carry pocket clip, and the screws aren't. It's not really recessed, which I do like it when it's recessed, but especially on deep carries because the pocket clip goes above the screws, so I like it when they're recessed when it's deep carry. All right, well, I think that's it for this video. So if you like this guy, I definitely can recommend it. I really like it. It's very comfortable, it has a lot of good utility, and I use it to disassemble and reassemble other knives and just, work on fun projects and stuff like that. It's something that definitely comes in handy as a small knife just in your pocket. I definitely like it, and for the price, it's not bad. All right, I hope you like this video. If you like more knife and EDC related content, check out my other videos, and remember to subscribe because I post every Friday and every other. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm doing my own thing. Every Saturday and every other Sunday, and there'll be more knives and more videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic day. Bye.